Hello, this is Carolyn Jones, facilitator at Ochoa Middle School and Reynolds Middle School. Today I'm going to be talking about Competency 3C. Candidates understand how to advocate for English language learners within the local school and community context by challenging misconceptions, arbitrary requirements, inappropriate curricular and assessment assumptions, cultural misunderstandings, and other factors that may impede language learners' development and access to opportunities. And also Competency 3D, candidates can distinguish between and communicate characteristics of typical language development and potential special education needs by referencing appropriate research and resources. So I'm going to start today with the article that we read from, written by Dr. Johnson, From the Classroom to the Living Room. This was a long article, but I really enjoyed it because I believe that home visits is one of the things that is missing in today. I am familiar with my building only, so I'm unsure how other buildings are doing things or other teachers. When I started teaching 18 years ago, things were a little bit different. But it has evolved, and I am not seeing as many home visits as what I think is necessary for our students and our families. So some of the things that the article talked about that resonated with me and I completely agree with is that by conducting home visits, it is an avenue for that student and home connection. It builds relationships with parents, students, and teachers within their own setting. We have seen and we know that that relationship and that communication with parents builds a positive academic outcome. And parents, there was a comment about the traditional, the white way that we used to see home visits. And I think that has evolved, and we need to make sure that we understand the cultural diversity in the homes that we visit, and it may look different than what myself as an American, a white person, would see in my own home or in the home of my brother or the home of my cousins. It's going to look different. I believe that the misconception that they talked about is that when parents don't show up to school means that they don't care. Total misconception. We know that parents send their kids to school because they trust us. They want us. And I think we see that now so much more with what's happening, and that parents want their kids back in the structure and the consistency that a school provides for their children. We know that parental engagement rather than involvement becomes authentic. And we know that educators, the willingness to relinquish the authority and learn from the families provides a positive outcome. But the article did talk about training. So we do need to make sure that if we are going to do home visits, we need to train our teachers. We need to have them understand what they may be walking into, what may look different, be able to have some scripts that talked about, so that there's not that dead time, so that you know ahead of time what you may want to talk about. It talked about developing a time frame and thinking about what you are going to, the attire you are going to wear, but also to be bringing positive work samples. Don't be coming in because the kids' behavior, but go and visit the homes of your students that are positive relationships. Sometimes those are the missed opportunities that we don't have. And then it talked about restructuring the parent and teacher relationships. And we know that it affects the students' performance, their attitude, modifications change, and we understand similar environments. You're able to share that with the students in a setting that is outside of the school and the classroom. In conclusion for the article, I think the main points is that if and when we do home visits, we need the support of our leadership team, of our principal. We need to make sure that the teachers aren't anxious and look at it as something that they have to do, but something that will benefit them, benefit their students. They can bring things that they learn back into their lessons. They can see the struggles that the students may be having at home, and discuss with the parents what the learning needs of their students are. One of the biggest things that I wanted to comment about was actually two things. One, there was a comment about using a student to translate, and they weren't sure if the student was translating the correct information from mom to the teacher. But one of the things I think we need to also remember is that these are students. Did the student really know what the word was? Or were they really trying to hide what was being said? I think sometimes when the parents say things, the students don't necessarily know what is being said, and they don't know how to translate that to English. The biggest thing was the very last paragraph. It talked about the power from classrooms and relocating to living rooms gives parents a voice to share the education process of their students. That just resonated with me. When we go from that classroom to a living room, we take away some of the things, some of the anxiety, some of the struggles, and we just breathe, and we're in the student's environment, and we learn about the student. We learn about the family. We learn how we can help them, how we can support them, what their needs are. And that is such a powerful thing with home visits. Personally, I want to talk about a couple things. I think I've mentioned it before. One of the things that I think was very powerful, we did probably 5-6 years ago, was a bus tour where we drove around our community at Ochoa, and we actually saw the different areas that our students lived in. There was an opportunity at one of the trailer parks that students actually invited us into their homes. Some of us had that student as that child as a student. Some of us had their older brothers and sisters. I know I had their older sister. And so it was nice being able to see that family again. For me, I know the teachers were eyes wide open, knowing, figuring out, finding where the students come from, where they live, the struggles that they have, how many people are in a home, the beds that they sleep on, those type of things. So we just don't find out the academic stuff, we find out about their lives. So home visits, I totally agree with, and I think that's something that we need to establish and we need to do as much as possible. Thank you.